Good morning and welcome to Test Garden Tuesday. Today we're doing the tomato takedown. It is mid-October, so at this point in time, production is really slowing down. With tomatoes, they just really don't taste very good anymore. So it is time to take them down to make room for some other things in the garden, or just to be like getting ready for the winter. So I wanted to show you just generally how I take things down, which is today I have scissors. You can also use any kind of other cutting tools. I usually like a pruner's, but you can go through and I usually just like cut piece by piece. If there are any tomatoes on here and you like green tomatoes, you're welcome to take them off. These are a cherry variety, so the traditional like southern or soul food fried green tomatoes, usually you like a slicer. There's some things you can do with this. I've had green tomato pie, I've had some pickled tomatoes. There's other recipes that you can look for that use these, but generally I don't save very many of them. And I just slowly cut these down because it's a little easier to manage. If I get to bigger sections, then I can use a bigger tool. And generally, because tomato plants can carry different diseases, and it's more common, I often just throw these out. Later, we'll talk about chop and drop, which you can chop things and just put them directly on the soil. And then I often will even uproot the tomato plant and shake that soil out so that we keep as much soil as possible and then set it to the side. Anyway, for today, we're keeping a couple things that I like to keep in the garden. At least for the next little bit. One of those is onions, so these can handle the cool weather, so we're going to keep those. I'm going to keep basil for a little while because I like to eat it, and there's some flowers, so pollinators can also come by and eat off of those flowers. And then parsley, if you remember from some of our other videos, we found black swallowtail caterpillars. They really like parsley, and those, once they've built their cocoons, they can actually overwinter in a cocoon form and then come out as a black swallowtail butterfly in the spring. So I like to keep those as long as possible. What I am clearing space for right now is cover crop. This is something that's really good to do to make sure that we keep our soil in. Keep it from blowing out over the winter, and also add some nitrogen to our soil if we have a leguminous crop. And I have, this is a mix of winter wheat, peas, and oats. So the peas will actually fix nitrogen from the air and put it into the soil and make it available to plants. If you have an inoculant, this actually helps with that process in case there isn't enough bacteria in the soil to make that happen. So what I do to prepare this is last night I put some water in this bag to start softening the seed coats so that it can germinate more quickly. And then this morning I sprinkled that powder in there and just like smushed it around. Peas and oats I did over here. So this is what that cover crop looks like. And the oats are just this grassy part, and it kind of keeps the peas up. This one, I have never tried winter rye before. That is going to winter kill, so it'll die off once we get really cold temperatures. But because the roots are in there, it'll still keep the soil in. The winter wheat, from my understanding, is going to last throughout the winter. So the way that you do this is it can be sown pretty densely. And I just go and I take a handful and I sprinkle it all through the bed. And I can get pretty close to where the other plants are. Go on, I'm gonna set that aside, and then just with a hand rake or even with fingers, go through and just kind of rake it in a little bit. It smells really good in here with all this basil.
Listen.
And then go through and just pat it down, just to make sure we have good seed to soil contact. And then after that, that's really it. And I'm hoping that we'll see some germination within the week, and then get enough of this to grow to really cover the soil for the winter. So thanks for coming out today, and we'll see you next week.